All right, today we're jumping into a state you probably think you have all figured out, Arizona. But trust me, we're going to look way beyond the Grand Canyon and uncover some things that will absolutely surprise you. So let me ask you, when I say Arizona, what's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm guessing it's probably the Grand Canyon, right? Or maybe those classic towering saguaro cacti, and of course, that blazing desert heat. And yeah, those are definitely a big part of the picture. But that's just scratching the surface. It's the postcard version. We're going to peel back that top layer and explore the really fascinating, sometimes downright weird stories and landscapes that make Arizona so much more interesting than you ever thought. So let's kick things off by busting the biggest myth right away. This section is all about why Arizona is not just sand and sun. Okay, check this out because it really shows you what a state of contrasts this is. On one hand, yes, you've got those hot, dry desert valleys that everyone pictures. But on the other hand, would you believe Arizona is also home to massive, cool pine forests way up in the mountains? It's like two different worlds in one state. And it gets even more diverse. Get this. Near Flagstaff, you'll find one of the biggest ponderosa pine forests on the planet. The state is also hiding these huge cave systems underground, like Colossal Cave. And here's the real kicker, mountains with ski resorts. Seriously, you can go skiing in the morning and be back in the warm desert by dinner time. How wild is that? Arizona's surprises aren't just in its natural geography, though. The state is also home to some of the most wonderfully weird landmarks you'll find anywhere, both man-made and, well, from outer space. Okay, here's a fun one. What if I told you that the actual historic London Bridge, the one from the song, isn't in London? What if I told you it's sitting in the middle of the Arizona desert? Sounds like a joke, right? Well, it's 100% true. The story is just unbelievable. So back in the 60s, they took the bridge apart in London piece by piece. Then they shipped every single block all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and rebuilt it, stone by stone, in a place called Lake Havasu City, Arizona. It has to be one of the craziest moving projects of all time. All right, so we've had a man-made wonder. Now let's talk about one that came from the cosmos. Take a look at this number. 550 feet. That's deep, really deep. And it's the depth of a massive hole punched into the Arizona landscape. It's called, appropriately, Meteor Crater, and it is one of the best preserved impact sites in the entire world. About 50,000 years ago, a giant rock from space just slammed into the Earth right here. It left a crater that's almost a mile wide. Standing on the edge of it feels like you're on another planet. And for our last landmark, we've got a true geographical oddity. You have to check out the Four Corners Monument. It is the only spot in the entire U.S. where you can put your hands and feet down and literally be in 4 states: Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, all at the exact same time. So we've seen the landscapes and the landmarks, but what about the stories and the culture that make Arizona, well, Arizona? Let's dive into some of the unique laws, legends, and legacies that define the state. We have to start with the icon itself, the saguaro cactus. Its flower is the state flower, but really the whole plant is treated like royalty. These things can live for more than 150 years, and it is actually against the law to cut one down or even dig one up without a special permit. You just don't mess with the saguaros. Now, here's a bit of history with a surprisingly romantic twist. Arizona was the very last of the 48 contiguous states to join the Union. And what day did it officially become a state? February 14th, 1912. Yep, Valentine's Day. So of course, it earned the nickname the Valentine State. But that's not its only nickname. While the Grand Canyon State is the one you see on the license plates, it's also famously known as the Copper State. And that's no joke. Arizona mines more copper than any other state in the country. That industry is a huge part of its history and its identity. And you can still see a living piece of that old mining history today. In parts of Arizona, you can see herds of wild burros just roaming around. These are the actual descendants of the animals the prospectors and miners brought with them way back in the 1800s. They're like little furry time capsules of the state's Wild West past. So from pine forests to protected cacti, it's pretty clear that Arizona is packed with surprises. Let's pull everything together in this last section and talk about why it truly is the state of surprises. I think this quote just nails it perfectly.
Arizona is more than a desert backdrop. It is a state of extremes, contrasts, and unexpected stories. I mean, that really says it all, doesn't it?
So, what's the big takeaway here? The next time you think about Arizona, I want you to remember all this stuff that's hiding behind the Grand Canyon. Remember, it's a land of forests and caves, not just sand. It's the bizarre home of a British bridge and a crater from outer space. It's the Valentine state that puts its cacti under legal protection. And it's a place where history is literally still roaming free. And that just leaves you with one last thing to think about. Arizona is overflowing with these kinds of shocking contrasts and hidden histories. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other amazing stories are just waiting to be discovered in the places all around us that we think we know so well?